Yes, so welcome to this explicit intent. Yesterday we talked about the intent. Intents are used to initiate or start any component in the Android. Those components may be activities, maybe services, or the broadcast receiver. And then we went on to the explaining the implicit intent, that how without naming the component we can initiate that component. So in that we specify the action and what kind of data that needs to be transferred. Today we are going to talk about how we say the explicit intent. Here we name the component that we want to start. Like you can see in this case, here we are creating an intent, and this has this and then the activity 2.class. So we want to start activity 2.class whenever this intent with the start activity and then intent, then this new activity will get instantiated. So this is the way we start the new activity, and then a user can go and work on that activity. While working, the user may like to go back. So what we need to do to finish the activity? For finishing the activity, we may call the method finish anytime. If we finish the activity, then the current activity will end, and then whatever the parent activity is there, that will become visible, because current activity resides on the top of the previous activity. So they are stored in the stack. It may also finish by user pressing the back button. Usually the default on the Android devices, on the back button, it defaults calls the finish method. However, we can override because whenever we press the back button, the method on back pressed is called in the activity. So if we do not want the activity to take the default hardware method, then we can override this method. There we can say that, oh, if you want to finish the activity, please enter the back button again. Those kind of things that we can do. Third, yeah, you have a question? Let me know.
Suppose I don't want the user to use the hardware button. So what is the procedure of that?
And if you do not want the user to use the hardware button, in that case you will say on the back press, you will override the on back press but method, and you will just say do nothing, blank. Okay, so whenever user will press the back button will not be pressed, because whenever you press the on back press method will be called, and then the default action not will be taken. Okay, good question. Another thing is the calling the start activity intent. Actually, from the current activity, we can also call back to the any first activity. We should not do that because all these activities are maintained in the stack. So from activity A1, we are calling A2, and then again, if it again call A1, then A1 will go on the top of A2. So there will be many activities in the stack. So we should not use the start activity intent. However, there are few flags that can be used to finish the current activity and going back to the parent activity. You can see those flags in the intent reference document. Okay, we will see that as well. And now we want to see, actually now we have been using the start activity. We are transferring the control from the one activity to another activity. We are transferring the control from how we can transfer the data from the one activity to another activity. So intents are the ways to to transfer the data from one activity to another activity. Let me show actually how we are transferring the data to the sub activity. So whenever we are calling the intent, in the intent we put the data. Intent is our messenger. We put our data in the form of key value pair. We put the data in the, so key 1 is the key and this is the value that we are pushing. And then we say the start activity go, the control goes to the second activity. In the second activity, we see, okay, from what was the intent that has called me, that we can get reference to that intent from the method get intent. Having got it, now we can get the get string extra. Using the same key, we can get the data. So this way, we see how the data is being transferred from the child activity, parent activity to the child activity, from the main activity to the sub activity. But we also may require where we are transferring the data to the child activity, and again we want some data back from the child activity to the parent activity. In that case, we need to call another method, that is the start activity for result. We need to call another method, that's the start activity for result. Here there are two parameters that is to be passed. One is the intent and another is the request code. When we are passing the intent, here we can also add the data that we want to pass from the main activity to the sub activity, and this request code will be used for fetching the data that the child activity has sent to us. We will see how we do that. Okay, what?
We are passing data in CI software, in the form of CI software.
That's right. This is the data.
This is data. So can I transfer the data at the rate by putting in the string?
Yeah, you can put anything actually. So once we have called a start activity for result, then the sub activity will be sending some data back. In that case, our main activity also must implement one more method, that is on activity result. So whenever the result comes from the sub activity, then this method on activity result will be called, and it will have three parameters: request code ID, result code, and intent. This request code is same as the request code that we have passed, and then result code, whether we have got the data correct or data has not been returned back, and intent is the messenger which have brought the data back from the child activity. Intent is the messenger which has brought the data from the child activity. Let me go ahead and see what happens once we get into the child activity. In the child activity, we need to set the result. We need to call whatever data that we want to send back to the main activity. For that, we will call a method set result. It will be result code and intent. Intent is the whatever the messenger that wants to take our data, that will be this intent. And this result code, it will be value. Its values may be result cancelled or result okay. If result cancelled, it means that result has not been sent. If result okay, it means that result is I am sending the right result. We process ahead. So when we come to the parent activity, and then we say that on activity result, then we will see that result code, is it result okay or not. If result code is okay, then we say that okay, is it my request code? If it is also my request code, then we say that okay, get me data from this intent. Okay, let me show you another picture over here. Here, what we are doing, we have request code 10. We are starting this activity, a start activity for result. We come to the second activity. In the second activity, say we get the intent, we create new intent, and we put the value, whatever, and then we say that set result. Activity.result okay and right. And whenever the second activity ends, this method on activity result will get called in the first activity, and then we can get the data over here. It's fine. We may have a case where we want to share our application data to all other applications on our device. that is done, that is called the sharing of the data. So whenever we want to share any image, we just go and click on the share button, and then it will show all available applications, and then we can share the data. That thing we can also implement using share intent in our applications. So what we say that there is a action underscore send. This is our share intent. So we call the share intent, and then what kind of data that we want to share. It is a text plain, and then we put extra. Okay, what is the data that we want to share, and then
Difference between text and plain. As a text and type of plain.
that's
Okay,
right.
okay.
Yeah, text, and then there may be HTML.
Okay.
Okay. So, and then we say the start activity intent. So whenever we click on a button share, then this intent will be called. This intent will be called, and then whatever applications that can receive the text on plain, they will be given the option to select whatever applications that you select. The data will be shared by that to that application. In that case, one thing that needs to be noted that whatever data that you want to put, it needs to be put into the proper key. Here it's android.content.intent.extra text. If it is a image, then it's a different key. So depending on the what kind of data that you want to send, Android has already defined the keys, so that one application who is sending, he will keep the data in the same location where the another application will receive it. Then we can see the same how the share intent is used to send an email. Here we are putting the action underscore send, extra mail, extra subject, extra subject. So these are the various keys that are defined by the Android actually. You will have to find out what are the keys that in which you have to put the proper data. Only then the target application will be able to receive that data. If you put into the wrong place, it won't go through. And then you also need to put the proper what kind of data type is this. Message underscore for mail, type is message / RFC 822. And then we say that a start activity intent.create chooser email, choose an email client. So what if I'm telling to Android, okay, I have to send the mail, please let the user choose whatever email client they want to choose. The email client will receive this intent, and then they will go and see these are the keys where the data is kept, and they will use that data to send the email. Okay. So these are the ways. These are the three ways of sharing the data. One is the sending from the parent class to the child activity, then parent activity to child activity, and then from child activity to the parent activity, that is using the start activity for result. And then we can use our activity data with all other applications using share intent.